Okay, so in this video I'm going to try to explain how the new shell works. First of all, I'll zoom in. These are your UVC board locations. These are the lower ones, and these are the upper ones. So you can see there are upper and lower UVC boards. I'll zoom in on the intake port. This is the intake port where air will come in, and it shares it with the upper side. So there's upper and lower intake ports, and as you can see in the back there are two portal hoses which actually draw the air out of the chamber. And then in the lower exhaust port you can see a 5mm by 150mm slot, which this will send the airflow around the curve to the intake port. Now, what happens when the hand goes inside there is called the Coanda effect. And the Coanda effect, once it the hand goes inside there, will create a turbulence, and that'll actually surround the hand because there'll be a shield in the front here, which is like a convex curved shield on both upper and lower. So you can see that this right here is the exhaust port for the lower motor, and this will be the upper intake port for the upper motor. These will all use brass ferrule connectors, which will actually fit in these slots here, and in the circuit boards there's brass ferrule connectors right here. And so you can see there'll be a brass ferrule connector on each side. There's a 20mm portal opening. This way each of the boards can all be made exactly the same, so we just replicate the same board for upper and lowers. And this is where the screen will go, the screen cavity. And there's a opening on both sides. This allows us to take in communication port links or whatever, so that we can tie to the circuit board. What's left to do now is to add in the motor mounts, which will be a motor mount over here, and there'll be a motor mount over in this direction here. And then there'll be PCB mount, which will fit probably on this curve here, in the upper curve. And then that'll drive both upper and lower motors and UVCs, and power up the tablet as well, the control tablet. Here you can see the lower exhaust port, and then you can see there's also an upper exhaust port here. So I was able to get a chamber sealed off around that, and then what I did was I just boxed in the chamber so that the airflow will just go into that box and fill it. Because it's a lot more air volume than that 5mm by 150mm space, that'll create pressure which will actually blow pretty hard out to the bottom, because we're going to be using a 650 liter per minute motor on both upper and lower. So you'll have approximately 1,300 liters per minute volume running on both upper and lower blowers. Also, if you notice that these ventilation area where the exhaust ports are will be blowing over the UVC LEDs. As you know, those things get pretty hot. So they'll actually go on the upper and lower, help keeping them cool, but also heating the air as it goes through the circulation chamber. So this is first video, part one, without the motor mounts and the circuit board mounts. Those will be done next.